everything good with you?
Yeah, everything's good, man. How's everything been with you, man?
No, everything's good with me, man. Everything's good with me. Just keeping it moving. Just keeping it moving.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, I was so excited when I saw that post on Instagram when you posted that you were filming the documentary for WWE for Nexus.
Episode 71 is this is how we gonna start, Arnold?
That's how we're gonna start. We've been rolling, man.
Let me just say that, when they contacted me a couple of weeks ago about doing this Nexus documentary, I said, sure, cool, what they paid me, I always say if I did this for the money, I would have complained a long time ago. I said, sure, no problem. I'm available on a Tuesday that we planned. And I purposely showed up with my New Japan jacket because I'm very proud of it, very proud of it. So when I got onto the set, they flew a camera crew to LA, rented out a house, and we did it in a house. And
Mm.
as soon as the producer and I met, he was very cool. And he's like, "Oh, how do you like New Japan and everything?" I said, "Yeah, I love it. It's always been a bucket list of mine." And we kept talking, and as soon as we started rolling, he asked me, "Oh, do you mind if you can take off your New Japan jacket?" I said, "Just like this." I'm very proud of this New Japan jacket. And, you guys just inducted Jushin Liger into the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame. And I just talked to John Laurinaitis a couple of weeks ago because he was just calling to check up on me. And he told me about a New Japan WWE possible collaboration. Who knows?
Mm.
So let me just be me. If this interview is supposed to be Nexus documentary, uncut, uncensored, let me just be me because I'm very proud. And the producer said, no problem, you sold me on it.
Ha.
So after I had posted what I was very proud of, a couple of fans had made a GIF, not a GIF, but like one of those pictures blurring out the logo for New Japan, saying that's probably what WWE will probably do. And I said to
Oh,
myself, it won't be the first time WWE has blurred something out of me. They blurred out my ex-boyfriend years ago when we were on the red carpet, so I'm not unfamiliar with that. But for them to do that, that would be very childish.
yeah.
But at this point in my career, let me be me. You know what I mean? 10 years. You want to know what's happening 10 years after the Nexus? I'm not some broken down veteran that's all hunched over and not taking care of their body. 10 years later, I'm with New Japan,
Yeah.
and this is my heart, my soul, and my everything. And like I said, I'm very, very, very proud of this. You know what I mean? And for them to tell me to take this off, I mean, what do you think, Arnold?
First of all, that looks really fresh. I think that's a new one. I haven't seen you wear that one before. And
Brand new.
you're 100% right, man. Like I tell you many times in private that I feel like you're doing your best work right now. All your matches in New Japan all look like main event matches. You're in your prime. You look better now than you did back in WWE. And you're right. If they're gonna do a 10-year Nexus kind of like nostalgia and also include the whole like where are they now type of thing, gotta keep it authentic, gotta keep it genuine. Like you're in New Japan right now.
Yes.
And again, like wrestling evolve, like I feel like it shouldn't be that big of a deal anymore for you to wear that. And it shouldn't be blurred out where, WWE in the past, they had like Dixie Carter on the network from Impact Wrestling. Recently, they had Matt Cardona on the Mrs. 24 whatever series on the WWE network, and he's not with
Mm-hmm.
WWE anymore. So like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal anymore. And good for you for standing up like that, man. And I love how the
Whatever.
producer
Yeah.
said that you sold him on it because I felt like you were ready. I felt like you anticipated a situation like that, and you already had one of your canned answers.
Oh, exactly, Arnold. I knew it was going to happen. It was like a scene out of a movie. As soon as they hit the record button and he asked me to take my jacket off, I said, I can, and I said what I said and I meant what I said. And I'm very proud of the stuff I'm doing with New Japan. And I talked to the people at New Japan that really matter to me and that have been really helping me out, and they thought it was funny, you know. And
Yeah.
it's all this is putting more eyes on New Japan. And if they do this collaboration in the future, you know, let me be a part of it. Let me do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I was very proud of me wearing the jacket. And if they use the footage, they use it. Like I said, if I would have done this for the money, I would have complained a long time ago. I can't even buy a cup of Starbucks coffee for what they offered me. But like, you know, I went there with a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Were you the only one that was in the house, or did you meet some of your friends there?
No, it was just me. You know, I guess the producers said that they've already interviewed Wade. They've already interviewed Daniel Bryan. And probably the reason why they interviewed those guys is like when you're under WWE's conglomerate, like, you know, they'll have you do these little appearances and like, you know, it's all included into your contract with WWE. So like Wade Barrett, hey Wade, we need you to be here to do this our Nexus documentary. Boom, he's already doing it because he's already signed to WWE.
Yeah.
I talked to him right before the pandemic, and he told me because he wasn't with WWE at the time that he would not be willing to come back because the money wasn't right for him. You know, it is what it is. The money's got to be right. The money wasn't right for me for this interview, but I knew what I was going into. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to represent New Japan, and I definitely did that. But yeah,
How did you feel after the shoot was over? Did you feel like you got your story out there? Did you feel satisfied with everything that you said?
yeah, you know, I knew about this ahead of time, so I had all the stories I wanted to hit. You know, I tied it all the way back to New Japan about, you know, the moments that we had with Nexus and, you know, tearing up the ring, and all those are great memories. But I'm very proud of the moves that I continue to make with New Japan because when the pandemic hit with us all, I didn't stop. I didn't stop grinding on social media, reaching out to sponsorships. I didn't stop working out in the backyard, which I'm still doing to this day. I'm like, do I really want to go back to the gym? But eventually, I'm going to go back to the gym. I've been getting it in the backyard myself. I didn't stop. You know, this pandemic didn't put a halt on my career or my goals or my, you know, opportunities that were just put into my lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But you know, Arnold, I just saw Heath. I surprised him. He did an appearance at the wrestling guy
I
store,
saw that.
and I don't. I waited an hour of traffic, LA traffic, to see Heath. I hadn't seen him in years, and during the Nexus interview, when the producer asked me who were some of my friends, they were all my friends, but Heath is like at the top. And with Heath, I always say, even when we had him on our podcast, from hiding under bleachers to setting off fire alarms, we've seen it all, we've done it all, and we've got so much love for one another. So I stopped by the restaurant store to just surprise him, and he
Oh,
was
that's
so
great.
happy. He was so happy and everything.
TJ Black
But
was
I,
there too, right?
yeah, PJ Black showed up. You know, after I was actually in the area, so that's why I stopped by to see him. But I wouldn't have done that for anyone except for Heath. And
Yeah.
even Heath and I were talking, and he asked me how did the sit down interview go, and I said because I was wearing a New Japan shirt, I said, man, it was cool, but I'm representing this. And he's like, man, you know, Freddie, you were always a workhorse of the group, you know, you always work. I said, yeah, you know, but throughout the interview, the Nexus documentary, I talked about not being out, not being comfortable, being amongst the guys. When a microphone is put in my face, I just was terrified because the fear of the unknown, you know, I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't confident in myself. You know, he says, you know, and he said it on a podcast, we're not young punks anymore. We're grown ass men 10 years later. So if we were to come back now, it would be a totally different story. But even Heath and I agreed that you can't sit down uh, I'm sure it'll come out great on the network, or whatever. But you can't sit us all down separately and tell the story. Yeah, they'll try to make it look cool and everything, but you got to do an 7, 8 round table with all of us, because
Yeah.
that's when the stories are going to come out. That's when the laughters are going to come out. They got some laughs out of me sharing stories, but you have to get all of us together and do a 7 or 8 round table. Like, I don't count Daniel Bryan. Wade doesn't count Daniel Bryan as being the original Nexus.
Right.
Um, so sit us all down and let's just have it out and have fun. So that's like the best way that they can get it done. Maybe they'll do it 10 years later from now, 20 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm not I'm not worried about it. I'm glad I was able to share my story. Just like I say on our podcast, don't die with the story and you tell it. So I was not going to turn down that opportunity.
Man, Daniel Bryan is like the Ahmed Johnson for you guys. Just like how The Godfather doesn't say that he doesn't count as the nation of domination. That's Daniel Bryan for you guys.
Ahmed Johnson doesn't count him. Wait, say it again.
Well, Godfather, when we had him on our episode,
Oh,
said that
yes,
Ahmed
yes.
Johnson that is not included in the nation domination because Ron Simmons doesn't include him in the nation of
Wow.
domination. So he goes by what Ron says.
Oh, okay, yeah, same. Wade was the leader, so but I guess eventually they'll get all the members. Who knows if they'll get Ryback or not? Who knows? But they called me, I did it.
Also, you don't think Ryback was in the documentary as of right now?
Well, I don't know, because when I did the interview recently, I asked who have you gotten so far, and they said Daniel Bryan and Wade.
Oh,
So
you're right.
I
Yeah,
guess I was the easiest, the third easiest and most gullible one. Sure, he'll do it. He's been trying to get back with Nexus or WWE, but everything was calculated with me, baby.
I can't see them reaching out to Ryback after all the, you know, things that Ryback has said about the company. I mean, sure, it's his truth, but again, I don't think the WWE would reach out after all of that.
Maybe they probably won't, because you know why? The producer kept saying, because I mentioned a Ryback story about how we would do the attacks, that he would always be throwing elbows, and a lot of times he would be hitting us.
Yeah.
So I told that story, and everyone was laughing. And then they asked me to say the story again, like talk about that story in detail. So
Uh,
they'll probably cut to Ryback beating up on someone, and then me telling the story, and then who knows, who
yeah.
knows, who knows? Like the narrator will probably say, yeah, he was very unsafe to work with, apparently, to other Nexus members. Then
Yeah.
they'll take a sound bite of me or someone else, but he says that they haven't contacted him because he signed to Impact. So
No, I don't think that should be a thing. I'm sure that's gonna happen soon because, like, I don't know. I feel like they don't see Impact as a direct competition or anything like that. Like I said, Matt Cardona did it for WWE, and yeah, they had Dixie Carter. So come on, like they should
yeah,
have Heath on there.
yeah, yeah. And also, even great news for me is that I'm officially signing with New Japan.
Oh yeah,
So
congrats, man!
yeah, man. So it's just the first time I'm saying it is on our
Wow.
podcast. First time I'm telling the story about the Nexus documentary, and like I said, first time telling everyone that I'm going to be legit with New Japan, man. Consistency is so important, man. You know how much I've wanted this so bad. I've said
Yes.
it on the podcast. You know what I mean? I wish I could go back. We're on episode 72, man, but I'm sure on plenty of the episodes I've mentioned my desire to work for New Japan, and I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. Even you'll probably get annoyed. New Japan, New Japan. That's all he talks about. New Japan, New Japan. Well, I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of it. I'm still rocking and rolling, making my 30s jealous of my 20s.
Good for you, man. And you're one step closer to your dream of actually wrestling in Japan. The world's
Yeah,
opening up.
yeah.
So
I don't know, man. Like, New Japan just cancels a few shows, and maybe all their shows in May. The numbers and all this stuff with
oh, okay.
yeah. So they've recently, like, they were supposed to have shows. What's today's date? recently they were supposed to have a slew of shows, but I think they canceled them for the month of May because
Wow.
of the numbers, So I don't know, man. Hopefully for New Japan Strong, August we can start running some shows, but that's just word on the street, man. So
Yeah.
that August, if we do run shows in LA, that will definitely be the true test of if I'm really cut for New Japan, because even though I got match of the year 2020 with Tom Lawler, again, the true test is performing in front of a legit crowd, and I can't wait. I can't wait for that day to happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, man. And you know, speaking of New Japan, there's a chance that we might see you in an AEW show because they're also collabing with AEW. I don't know if you know this, but for the first time ever, a New Japan championship is gonna be defended on AEW. John Moxley's gonna defend his U.S. championship. So I think that's going to be a great collaboration. You know, I think AEW and Impact, it's cool because it definitely helps Impact. I don't think it does anything for AEW. But with AEW and New Japan, I feel like they're pretty tied when it comes to credibility. So I think it benefits both of them. So you never know, man. But yeah, man, I think it's exciting because everyone talks about the opportunity. Like fans are like drooling of the fact that AEW is collabing with New Japan about the dream matches that can happen.
Well,
And
I mean, sorry to cut you off, Arnold. Finally, Yuji Nagata and
Mhm.
Moxley. Yuji Nagata, I was just on the show with him recently. I always get to the New Japan shows that we film early because first one there, last one leave, nothing changes. And I put my stuff in the locker room and started stretching in the ring, and then I looked up at the lineup and I said, "Oh my God, Yuji Nagata's gonna be here!" Like I was like, "Wow," So after I was done stretching in the ring, all the OG Japanese guys, they're always like looking at me, and then uh, he has eventually he didn't know who I was, especially with the mask on, and
ah,
I guess word gets around, and he was like, "You very famous." I said, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? You are." I told him he's had several matches with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is my all-time favorite wrestler. He's retired, but Yuji Nagata definitely one of my top 5, 10 favorite wrestlers to work and to watch. Uh, I said, man, I hope I can work you someday. He was so nice. So
yeah.
nice, but yeah, I'd love to see the bridge between, New Japan and AEW. AEW, like I said on the podcast, they've said no to me not once, not twice, but again, I stay in my own lane, and New Japan Strong is definitely my lane.
How cool would it be in the future to have an AEW versus New Japan pay-per-view? You know, where they have
Oh,
matches champion versus champion, Survivor Series type of matches,
if I were to do something like that, and it'd be the only time that I do a death match. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
If I'm gonna do any type of death match, it's gonna be against Moxley. And I've
wow.
ran into him several times, but we always talk about different stuff. And it's not that I fanboy, but like I've been meaning to ask him that.
Yeah.
I recently ran into him on the show with New Japan, and Renee Young was there. So I
Oh,
was like, I saw her. She was with, Moxley, and she looked at me, and she's like, Fred. I went running over there,
oh,
talking to her, just reminiscing and stuff like that. But I always forget to tell Moxley. I was like, Moxley, uh, the first WrestleMania that was supposed to be in Tampa, a few months beforehand, I was reaching out to different indie promotions about working, and then this one promotion was this uh, deathmatch promotion. They said, "Oh yeah, we have a spot for you, me, to do a death match." And I responded to the DM. I said, "The only way I'll ever do a death match is against Moxley." You know what I mean?
he's
Uh,
crazy,
I said,
man.
I'm not doing that stuff with anyone else. And I said that would be an awesome match because people wouldn't expect that out of me, but I know I could deliver the drama and all that stuff. People, I guarantee you, this is me speaking from the heart. If I were to do something like that, it would definitely be match of the year for any promotion
Wow. You know, I was
because
watching.
people don't expect that, you know, and
They
then
don't.
people don't expect that, and then for me to be LGBTQ and just me being that pride fighter, but having me fight and bleed, that's kind of like that's drama right there.
Yeah.
Him opening me up, and I'm like bleeding, but I'm still fighting back, going toe to toe with him. That would be an incredible story that both parties would thrive on.
Man, you know, speaking of John Moxley, I was watching an old clip that he was talking about for the Dark Side of the Ring, and I don't know if you saw this, but he was talking about when he wrestled this guy in this indie match, and the guy kind of had a little like cutter that's kind of like, you know, when you cut like a pizza, so he had one of those, and you know the crowd was into it, and John's all about, you know, crowd reaction and all that, and John thought that the guy was gonna give him like a working whatever, like a working cut or whatever, but the guy like dug deep into his forehead, and he's like, oh wow, okay, is this guy gonna like saw my face off? And then he also got John right here like that in the mouth,
Ooh.
and then he went like that. And I'm surprised John doesn't have any scars in it. I know I felt it too when I saw it. You know, I'm surprised that John doesn't have any scars. But then he said, like, this guy nearly took my tongue off. And you know, it's so crazy because you trust your dance partner with your body, and you
Yes.
just hope that they take care of you while you have like a blade. And that guy just straight
Yeah.
up let John have it.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. But if you do have a death match versus John Moxley, I don't know how you are with heights. Would you ever take a bump off of a ladder from the top?
Yeah. Yeah, if the price is right and if the place is going crazy, and it's got to make sense, like it's just got to make sense. I'm not gonna just do anything just to do it.
Yeah,
Just all of my matches with New Japan have all been like very, very, driven by me. Driven by me. Uh, there are many ways to skin a cat, but I just is it right for the story? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, yeah, I can jump off the top, but I mean, do I need to? Like, is it's just like storytelling 101 for me. Is it needed? Who knows? Who knows?
yeah,
But uh, yeah, I definitely do something like that with Moxley. And people, going into the match, he's already elevated. He's already doing great things. For him to put me over in a type of match like that, that would definitely catapult me even
yeah,
more. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's what it's all about. People would think that, oh yeah, he's not going to survive with Moxley. He's going to get eaten up alive. But if you tell a story and you get me over, both guys, there's room for everyone at the finish line. You know what I
yes,
mean? So,
yes,
um, and I'm sure Moxley would be down. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So,
yeah. Have you ever bled before in your career?
nope, nope.
No, huh?
September 11th, 2002, 19 years I've been rocking and rolling, had not bled.
Wow.
Well, I've had
Bloody
you
nose.
know, bloody nose, eye, lips,
Yeah.
but nothing, yeah, nothing where like I was bleeding like Steve Austin at
Yeah.
WrestleMania 13 with Bret Hart when he was in the sharpshooter.
Oh, that's a classic scene right there, man.
Yeah. Uh, check out this picture. Isn't this
Oh
nice?
wow, that's nice, bro. That's
Yeah,
like
I
a
did.
comic book.
Yeah, exactly. I did a virtual signing, so like this wrestling group sent out like a plethora of things for me to sign. So I signed them all, and I said, "Man, I like these, man." He's like, "Oh, you can keep a couple and sell them." I was like, "I'm not gonna sell them. I like how this looks, man."
Hell yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and blue's my favorite color, so
That's perfect.
yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But did you hear the news about SummerSlam possibly being at MSG?
No, really?
Yeah, I think they just made some news today about possibly having SummerSlam at MSG, which is cool. I'd love for them to have it at the Staples Center, but MSG, that's the world's most famous arena, man. I've been able to wrestle there, and that place gets rocking.
That's amazing, man. I was actually just watching an old Undertaker documentary, and it was towards the end of his career, and when he rolled up to MSG in honor of the Undertaker, they had a purple light from Madison Square Garden, and
Oh yeah, I saw that.
yeah, yeah. And Mark was like saying, like, man, like, in this business, you tend to get jaded and not a lot of things affect you anymore. But when I saw that, I felt it. I was like, wow, Madison Square Garden did that for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a really cool moment for him. And he deserves it, man. He really, really deserves it.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, uh, and speaking of Undertaker, one of his good friends, Mark Henry, he's always talking about he's wanting to have one last match. Uh,
Wow.
I was about to post about Mark Henry that if you want to have your last match, have it in a different promotion you've never worked. Have it in New Japan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
it'll be a good monster there.
Yeah, you have your last match in WWE. It's going to be like 5 minutes long. You want
Yeah.
to have your last match, have it with an organization that you've never worked for. You know what I mean? How cool? How cool of a story is that?
Really cool. And I was just listening to the Busted Open podcast today, and it
Hmm.
was actually the Mother's Day special, and they had the whole cast, Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, Mark Henry, and it was really cool because instead of them, it was actually their wives that was on the
Oh,
podcast telling stories since it is Mother's Day. And Bully Ray was kind of hosting the whole thing. Once in a while, the guys jump back in, but like Mark would go away, and his wife would talk about him and all that. And the wife is like saying like, yeah, this whole pandemic, it was out of our whatever 19 years of marriage, it is the most time that we spent together. And as great as it is, there comes a time where even like my kids go, okay, when's dad gonna go back to work? It's getting a little much. And so Mark was like saying like, oh yeah, so the pandemic was great because I spent a lot of time with my family, and sure, I got on their nerves a little bit, but that's the reason why I retired, because I want to spend time with them. It's not because I couldn't wrestle anymore. It's not because I lost passion for the business, because obviously I haven't, based on this podcast and me doing other things, but it's to spend time with my family. So with that said, that means he's still capable of wrestling, and he could definitely have a really great last match in New Japan.
bro! When Mark Henry talks about having one last match, I remember there was a time we traveled together almost 5 years. There was a time he did not want to wrestle anymore. And like, I mean, I'll say it on here, but I traveled with him. There was a time when Vince McMahon uh, told Titus and I to like take care of Mark, drive him, make sure he stretches, make sure he works out, make sure he takes
Wow.
care of himself. Because there was a time when like he was just sulking, and he was hurting, which
Yeah.
is understandable. He's a big guy. He's put a lot of miles on his body. So Titus and I were in charge of like making sure Mark Henry was safe and sound for a long time. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm not afraid to tell stories about Mark Henry, even on the WWE and Nexus documentary.
Yeah.
The producer asked me, was there ever a time when you got brought up to the roster when you were intimidated and all that stuff? And yeah, of course, the times are different. 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, when Nexus came up, we were kind of side eyed a lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was uncomfortable, especially when you're not out like me. But I always bring up the Mark Henry story about me being in the locker room and him saying, why do you got your hair like that? It makes you look gay, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I love sharing these stories. Those are my canned stories that I'll never forget.
Those times when you would take care of Mark Henry, at what stage was that in his career? Was that when he was the world heavyweight champion with the long braids, or
No,
was he already
no,
bald?
No, he was already bald.
Okay.
No, man, I'm trying to see. No, there was a time when no, no, he had the braids when he retired. You remember when he retired? Did the fake retirement?
Oh yeah, with the salmon blazer.
Yeah, we were traveling together, and I had no idea. I had no idea. Like
Wow.
he really got me, and I was like on the verge of tears, you
Oh
know.
man.
On the verge of tears. But yeah, that was his. I mean, that'll go down in history for him as one
Yeah.
of his biggest promos, biggest swerves, because he swerved everybody, man. He swerved everybody, and that's when I think he was fighting John Cena. But that was after when he was
Yep.
hurting a lot, and yeah, we had to look out for him, you know. And there's even a
Yeah.
picture on my social media of me stretching Mark, you know. So
Wow.
whenever I talk crap about Mark, I always send him that picture of me stretching him in the trainer room, you know. So
I love it, man.
yeah.
I love it. Well, let's talk a little some of the WWE news that we have this week. My favorite one was the one that I sent you a text about, and it's the one that I'm really, really excited for, is Jimmy Uso coming back. That was really cool, man. I did not expect that storyline happening because I thought when Jimmy Uso was coming back, I thought he was gonna be in the fold, right away. Boom, Roman Reigns gets another right hand man, and it's just gonna keep on moving. Of course, in the back of my head, I'm like, man, that'd be cool if this happens, but I'm like, nah, WWE's probably not gonna do it because it's the Usos. They rarely have conflict on screen, so I thought they're gonna be a tight unit from the beginning. And man, as soon as I saw that promo that I sent you, when he's like, first of all, you're not gonna talk to me like you talk to my brother Jay, and second of all, I ain't nobody's bitch. And he just like walked off. I was like, oh man, here we go. This is gonna be the best storytelling of 2021 in WWE, and Jimmy can pull it off because everything he says feels real.
And again, I have to be careful with what I say, if you know what I mean. I've got to be careful. But what happens backstage seems to always come to light. With Titus and I, we were always together. He was always following me around, being annoying. And this man saw it, always took a liking to it. Um, Backstage, Jimmy Uso ain't no punk. You know what I mean? Uh, Jay, he's calm, cool, and collected. But he's got a short fuse. But
Jay?
yeah,
Okay.
Jay has a little bit of a short fuse, but Jimmy's gonna bring it to you.
Mhm.
Jimmy is gonna bring it to you, and I'm looking forward to him bringing it to Roman possibly. But I'm hearing maybe what the Usos could be working the Mysterios. Is that true?
Uh, I did not hear that at all, but possibly that'd be really cool.
Well, who are the tag team champions currently?
Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
Yeah. Well, maybe I was hearing on the dirt sheets, of course, the dirt sheets, that possibly the Mysterios could win the tag team champions and then probably feud with the Usos, and
I
then the
love that.
Usos would regain the tag team titles, and then they'd have the tag team titles, and then Roman would be champion as well, so they'd be carrying a lot of gold. So
Yeah,
that's what I heard on the dirt sheets about a possible storyline in the future. I think would be cool, and it would be great experience for Dominic and Rey Mysterio, Usos, working them from personal experiences as a night off.
that's a situation where everybody wins, right? Dom gets his first championship. Ray gets to be tag team champions with his son, and the
Mm-hmm.
Usos regain, and they continue the storyline with Roman. And yeah, it's gonna be
And just look at the matchup.
yeah.
Two brothers against a father and son. I mean, can we think of something like that that's ever been done like that?
No.
So I mean, if that's word on the dirt sheets, I'm definitely co-signing to it.
Yeah. And also what's great about this whole Jimmy Uso coming back thing is the fact that he can have two rivalries right off the bat, one with Jay and one with Roman, right? It's like almost a
Mm.
triangle storyline. And it's
Hmm.
going to be really interesting to see where Jay stands because,
And it's gonna be real interesting to see Paul Heyman. He's gonna be like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's all here in Paul Heyman. It never changes, you know.
Yeah.
Even when there's action in the ring, he always has the facial. And I'll be teaching a seminar this Saturday in New Jersey at a wrestling school, Spartan Championship Wrestling. And I'm going to be, preaching, teaching. It's all about here. It's all about here. Vince McMahon would always say to me several times, Darren, you got to smile more. You got to let the people in, So that's been embedded in my head. So a lot of the tips and the tools and resources I've learned over the years, I'm going to be teaching that this coming Saturday. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all about the facials, baby. All about the facials.
And Paul is such a talented genius, man. And not a lot of people can pull off his skills because little things like when Brock lost against Goldberg, I think it was that match, but Paul shed a tear.
Mm.
Like he was able to shed a tear on that spot. I'm like, wow, that's hard. That's really, really hard, you
Yeah,
know?
just just everything he does like that. If you, I think we talked about it. Uh, Paul Heyman's phone case. I don't think we talked about the phone case, but his phone case is red. So it's just very like, and I consider red not evil, but red is like very like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So like just from his cell phone case to sometimes he has a red like
like the devil.
handkerchief.
You
Yeah,
can
you know
make
what I
deal with
mean.
the
So
devil.
yes, so everything he does is very calculated, and I just love that about Paul Heyman. I know some people that I'm close to aren't big fans of him because he's very manipulative, but it is what it is. If you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
You can learn from some sneaky stuff like that and make it better. You know what I mean?
It's all about the detail, man. Because again, like going back to when Brock lost, the following week they interviewed Paul, and Paul for the first time on WWE television had a 5 o'clock shadow. Like he hasn't slept,
See?
and he looked like he's
Yeah,
just been a mess. Like little things like that.
yeah.
Just like, damn, you are really bringing this to life, man. And like also when Roman makes his entrance and he holds up his Universal Championship, Paul always just like looks at it and like as if
Yeah.
it's a powerful thing that Roman's holding, which
Yes.
elevates the championship.
And the photos don't lie, you know what I mean? Like the photos are just perfect because when you see that, it's like iconic. It's not like Paul is looking off into the sunset or somewhere else. He's very focused. That's why performing for me in front of no fans, it's been very easy for me. It's been very, very easy for me because with no fans there, uh, we're making movies. We're
Yeah.
live combat theater. So there's going to be moments where Paul. It's easy for Paul, is what I'm trying to say, is because he just knows where to look, where to stand, where to be, because he's got over 30 plus years experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just knows.
Yeah. He's super, super talented, man. And speaking of Roman earlier with Jimmy Uso, I'm really glad that his next match at WrestleMania Backlash is with Cesaro.
Ah,
And
yes,
that's
yes.
just gonna be a great match. Obviously, I think Roman's still gonna win, but that's okay because Cesaro is getting that main event push that he deserved for a really long time now. And I think they should also they haven't been doing it, but they should also tie in the fact that and they should remind people that Cesaro used to be a Paul Heyman guy. They should bring that up
Hmm.
in the story because when he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, he was represented by Paul Heyman afterwards. So I feel like that should be included in the story.
I look at his situation as I look at Cesaro's situation as my situation. My last storyline was with the Miz, and Miz was like fighting for me to, win the championship title. Of
Yeah,
course, people that work under Vince McMahon didn't have my back, but I look at it as, yeah, this WrestleMania. Wait, what's the pay per view called again?
WrestleMania
WrestleMania back.
Backlash.
WrestleMania Backlash, Cesaro should beat Roman, and then they have another match at SummerSlam at MSG where Roman wins the title again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, give a dog a bone. He's never held the championship. Let him hold it for a couple months.
Yeah, I think that'll be really cool, and it's not gonna hurt Roman. He could be like you said, slipping on a banana peel or whatever type of moment, and it won't hurt Cesaro's win because he still deserves that spot. And I think you're right.
Yeah,
That'll be really cool. And again, one of those situations where everyone wins, man. And yeah, Cesaro's just been killing it, and he's been doing so well. And I'm really glad that he kind of, he all like his famous promo that he just wants to wrestle and he loves the business, he loves wrestling, and it's inspirational to a lot of people who's like on the daily grind and they don't see the point of it anymore because it's getting them nowhere. And he can be that example, like, well, look, hard work always pays off, consistency pays off. So you should get that.
exactly, exactly. He's been doing this so long. He's not a promo guy. Like I'm
Yeah,
not a promo guy. I can get through it. He can get through it, but he's just not. His strengths are wrestling. So highlight his strengths. I wouldn't say his promo work is a weakness, but that's not who he is. Like
yeah,
me talking like this, that's not who I am. Having a masculine and deep voice trying to sound like Shane Douglas. I don't have to do that anymore. This is
yeah,
who I am. If
yeah,
I stumble and fumble with my words, hey, I had a speech impediment when I was in elementary school. Deal with
yeah. I feel like if Cesaro were to do promo segments, like you said, it shouldn't be heavily him talking, but it should be. Do you remember like back in
it.
the
Well,
day?
it shouldn't be heavily scripted. You know what I mean? Because when
Yeah,
it's scripted, it gets very overwhelming for people when your script is being changed over and
yeah,
over and over again. With New Japan, one of my first promos is the first thing I said is the one thing I love about New Japan is that I can say as much as I want and as little as and as little as I want, as much as I
yes,
want and as a little as I can say as much as I want and as little as I want. You know what I mean?
yes, yes, yes. I do know
So
what
like
you mean.
that's one thing I love about New Japan. WWE, those promos are scripted and they're giving you new ones, and I'm like, what the hell? Oh, and it's got to be said this way because that's how Vince McMahon wants it to say. Please.
And you're 100% right. And as I was saying earlier for Cesaro, I think you have to realize that again talking is not his strong point, so you have to kind of get away around it. I thought it was genius the first time he came out to confront Roman Reigns and he grabbed the mic and Roman just walked away. And so see, like Cesaro didn't need to talk, but it still delivered that good entertainment and it still told the story. So I think his promo segments or his like non in-ring segments should be things like that instead of him like being on the mic. It should be actions. Like I said like before, I don't know if you remember, but when Dolph Ziggler was a potential candidate for being the guy, he would do little things where all like I forgot who was, maybe the Authority would surround him in the ring, and he's able to kind of do a little John Morrison parkour, and he would get away. He would get away from all of them. And again, that wasn't a promo, but it still wasn't a match. But that still elevated his character. So I think Cesaro should do things like
Well, I mean, eventually you're gonna have to say something, even if it's just bullet points, you know what I
that.
mean? Eventually, when you're in a high profile match, even if it's a little bit or a lot, you're gonna have to tell a story somehow with your words. It is what it is, man. But yeah, you can have those little moments like that where Roman walks away, but eventually you're gonna have to say three or four sentences or
Yeah.
something.
And but we already know that he can touch people's heart because on Talking
Yeah,
Snack he had a heartfelt promo.
yeah,
But like you said, it just can't be scripted. It has to be coming
yeah.
from the man.
Yeah. It's got to be coming from the heart, and it's got to be authentic as possible. What would you normally say? Me, I have my whole spiel and routine. However, I can get into a promo now. I can get into a promo. What's up, world? What's up, New Japan? You know what time it is? It's time for Mr. No Days Off, the Suntan Superman, to go to work. And I'm about to go to work on Arnold's ass because we've been doing this podcast for such a long time now, and he's been ducking and dodging me for many years now. Now it's time for you to get in the ring. The pandemic is over, but I'm not going to be done whooping that ass. You're going to leave California with 3 boots on, I can tell you that. 2 on your feet and 1 in your ass, and a lifetime reminder of how badly Mr. No Days Off put a whooping on you. So you got to bring it somehow, some way.
Wow, on the spot, man. That's
You know,
that's
you just got to,
really that's really good.
yeah, you just got to bring it, and whatever comes to your mouth,
Yeah.
you just got to say it, and yeah, yeah.
What do you think of Roman's new presentation with his new music?
Oh, I love the music. I love it. I love it. And speaking of new music, I also always got to put myself over. But I'm having, hopefully I can use it. But I'm having some new entrance music made, and
Oh,
Michael Tarver is doing the vocals. Man, it sounds great,
oh,
man.
sick. Do you already have
It's
it?
yeah, it's got to be probably it's got to be cleaned up probably some more. But I heard it. It's pretty cool, man. I think you'll like it.
Damn. Oh
Yeah,
man, I can't wait.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I hope I could possibly use it for New Japan.
I
Yeah,
always
I
love
hope I
it when
can.
music have lyrics. I'll always love
Mm,
all the theme songs. Like, of course, the iconic Shawn Michaels theme song,
yeah,
and even Billy Gunn's "Man, I'm an ass man," bump bump,
yeah.
little things like that. It just my favorite that's kind of like underrated is D'Lo Brown's. You're looking at the real
Oh,
deal now. I love his
yeah,
music, man. I love it.
yeah,
Who's your
yeah.
favorite entrance music that had lyrics?
Uh, um. Again, yeah, Shawn Michaels was good, but I love The Rock.
Oh, of course.
The probably one of his last ones. No, not his last ones, but the one. Uh, I mean, it was done a little differently. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It's like,
In the early stages, it was "You smell what the Rock is cooking." Ha! And then the music starts. Know your role and shut your mouth. The Rock says. The Rock
yeah,
says, and that would play as he's like walking. Was that the one you're
yeah.
talking about? Because after that, he
No,
just used the "If you smell," and then it's all instrumental after that.
but when he came back as a heel, when he came back,
Oh yes,
like,
yes, with the
yeah,
helicopter and
yes,
everything, and
yes,
it goes,
yes. Yes,
dun, dun.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
getting, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that, man.
Fun
I
fact:
can listen,
the
huh?
helicopter, they use that same scene for the Miz's entrance.
Oh, really? That
Like
same
the whole
scene is
LA freeway and everything. Like
what's
they use that for the Miz's entrance.
also, is that like stock footage or something?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was original for The Rock, but then like for the Miz, they use that same visual.
That thing was hot because it was
Yep.
slow. Dance, dance, dance. Oh, it was
And he
slow.
came
And
out
like,
with the bald like buzz cut and
yeah,
with the
yeah.
new tribal tat and oh
And
my
then
god.
and then he was always like just
Yep.
like just
Working
like
like as a
just like
heel, like look at me, like kind of like quirky
yeah.
way. I
Yes,
always love it
yes.
when The Rock does this with his like strudel when he's like, Lillian,
Oh yes, yes.
Lillian, eyes up here.
Yes, yes, yes.
So funny, man.
That's when that was his. Am I saying it right? That was his comfort zone. That's where like that was it for him.
Yeah,
That's how I feel in my presentation. I'm not
yeah,
trying to be anyone else except for me. I don't. Not only do I steal from, Tom Hanks said it best, you're dope if you don't steal from the greats. Another favorite quote of mine is, I don't just steal from the greats, I steal as to why they do what they do. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
So Rock eventually found his niche. I personally have found my niche where I'm comfortable in. Not too comfortable, but just confident. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yeah,
I found it. And if you don't like it, if the fans don't like it, too bad. Too
yeah,
bad.
yeah. You really do look more comfortable in and out of the ring, man. It's really cool.
Well, you know me personally. I'm shy. I'm quiet. I'm always nervous. But when I've got to deliver, man, I've got to deliver.
Yeah,
Things like I always get on my god babies is, especially the boy Daniel, reading literacy. You know, you can't be, you know, talking high in a normal conversation. Then when it comes time to present, you like talk like this, and you read and read in school like that. No, you got to be confident. You got to smile, and I tell them all the time. You know, my boss Vince McMahon would always say, "Smile, let the people in." So same stuff that I learned, I teach my god babies.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good lesson to learn, man. And it's hard for kids, man. I hated doing book reports at school. You know, those like
Well, the
presentations.
girls, yeah, well, the girls are different. The girls just, they mature quicker and they just
Yeah,
have that smile and have that energy. Try to teach them, to have confidence.
yeah, yeah. But it's a very hard thing to teach. You know, something you have to like experience. But yeah, you're right, man.
Well, the thing is, like, if I'm around my god babies all the time, they know how I operate. They know, they see me doing the videos, they see me working out. So it's almost like, you see how he's doing it. You're like, all
Yeah,
right, that's how it's supposed to be done. So
you're right.
I want to just be a good role model and a good representation.
You're
Now,
right.
if I was just walking around with my pants down and saying, yo, 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 what's up, then that's going to start rubbing off on them. Like they
Yeah,
think it's okay to do that.
yeah.
So it's just, I want to be the best role model I can.
That's great, man. And you're definitely doing that. Someone who might not be a role model to a lot of people because it got a lot of people mad is the news that Eva Marie is coming back to the WWE.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
What do
I
you
thought
think
that,
about that?
I think that's great. I think that's great. I think she's very beautiful. Um, but yeah, a lot of people, I think I read something. Uh, Bailey said something nasty about her coming back, but yeah, man, I think it's great. I always liked her. I always liked her because um, same thing I had told Titus. I told her there was a time when we were sitting on an airplane together, and she was like telling me how like some of the girls didn't like her and stuff, and I was just listening.
Yeah.
And I said, don't worry, the same girls that are shitting on you are going to be kissing your ass. So
Mm.
um, yeah, I'm happy that she's back. What do you think?
You know, people have a problem with her because they feel like, oh, she doesn't know how to wrestle. Maybe she's not a true fan or whatever. But I don't know, like to me, like I want her to succeed. But for me, it's not so much of the wrestling. To me, even when she cuts promos, like her tone is very like monotone. You know, like she doesn't reel you in. Like she doesn't make you feel invested. It's very like, oh, look at me. Like the next evolution. And it's like you can tell it's a script, you can feel that she's reading it. In my own personal opinion, I feel like she doesn't have the it factor. You know, I just feel like I'm sure she has the image. Like if you just take a picture of her, take a picture of her, like, oh, cool, looks like she has the image of what WWE wants. I get it, but then she wrestles and then she talks and it's not there. You know, for at least right now. I hope she gets better. I hope she like succeeds. But even with that promo of her coming back, the montage of her on the car, to me it just seems so flat. And
Bro,
I don't know, man.
what, like I said before, what you see is what you get. When it comes, who I am is who I am. I'm gonna cut a promo the way I cut a promo. The way she cuts a promo is the way she's gonna cut the promo. She's at that age. I mean, how can you get better? I mean, you can get more confident, but like, it's not like she's a child where you can learn and develop to get better.
Yeah.
That's just who she. That's just who she is. That's how she talks. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you have to
Yeah,
take
yeah,
it or leave it. You have to take it or leave it. But it's at a point where, yeah, you could tell her to have more. You can tell her to have more enthusiasm, but even that's going to come across as probably like force. So that's who she is. If she's going to talk like this, like when she talks like this, it reminds me of like old school like Marilyn Monroe, that's who she's coming off as. Well, she's doing a great job because she's just like Marilyn Monroe. Listen to how Marilyn Monroe talked, or like, uh, or oh man, I forget the one lady that the one girl that died of of an overdose, blonde. I forget her name.
Oh, Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
that Nicole?
exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. They all talk the same way, bro. Like you know me, I'm very big on in yeah. I'm just stuttering nonstop. I'm very big into body language, so
Yeah.
it's like that's how they talk.
But the thing is, it works for some people. Like monotone works for some people, but in my opinion, it doesn't work for her. You know, I don't know.
Well, that's who she is, so you have to take it or leave
That's true, man. That's true. And apparently
it.
WWE took it. So, and I
Yeah,
hope she succeeds, man.
yeah. But what else have you been hearing from the fans?
Everyone hates it. Like literally, everyone hates it. People in my DMs who I didn't know were wrestling fans are DMing me like, "Oh, I can't believe she's back," when they had the roster cut of Samoa Joe,
Oh
and
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like all these
yeah,
talents, and they're using their budget on Eva Marie. So
yeah.
I think that adds fuel to the fire, definitely. But yeah, like I said earlier, I wish her nothing but the best, but as of right now, I just don't see it. I just don't understand WWE's like thought process, like, oh, we need to get Eva Marie back because
Yeah,
like I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. But I think someone who's doing a great job and is feeling really comfortable is Alexa Bliss, man. I love what she's doing right now. Having her own little character with her doll Lily, and I'm so glad that I don't know what her health issues are. I don't know why she's not wrestling as much. Maybe it might be the concussion that she had during the whole Evolution pay-per-view. Like prior to that, she was supposed to wrestle Trish, but she ended up not wrestling her because of a concussion that Ronda Rousey gave her.
Wow.
So maybe that's still affecting her, but regardless, I'm happy that she's still on television weekly. And I think her work right now is the best work she's ever done in her career. She's a great actress, man, and she just nails that character.
Oh, I didn't know that Rhonda gave her a concussion.
Yep. It's on the documentary on WWE Network. It was at a house show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, did I see footage of that? Maybe I saw footage of that.
They had a footage of that, but they were like in a dark show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably on purpose.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, that it was just something like everyone's trained. Like how's she getting a concussion?
But like you said though, you always say it's not ballet. Stuff
Yeah, no,
happens.
no, it's not ballet at all, but sometimes the girls can be a little.
A little receipt from Rhonda.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, honestly, in my career, man, you know, again, I'm very proud. 19 years, I keep saying it, but I've never had an issue like that where,
Yeah. Well, because everyone likes you, man.
yeah, someone's given me a receipt, besides gender several times, kicking me in the mouth, and then getting work done to my mouth, and then him kicking me in the mouth again. We just didn't click. But but thank you WWE for my veneers.
Oh,
Um,
really? That was on WWE's dime?
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So
Wow.
thank you for my $7,000 plus veneers.
Damn, that's cool, man. Didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing that I'm really excited to watch that I haven't seen yet. I'm really happy that they uploaded the whole episode on YouTube, but the whole Brian Pillman episode, The Dark Side of the Ring,
Oh, I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Is that up now?
it's up on YouTube. It's like an hour,
Oh,
a little over an hour. The whole episode's there on Vice's YouTube channel.
okay. I'm gonna take a look at it tonight. How'd you like it?
I watched snippets. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but I want to watch it. But it seemed really good because Stone Cold Steve Austin's there, and he talks about Brian, obviously. Excuse me. But
Yeah.
but man, like Brian Pillman, I believed him as a kid, man. I just thought he was crazy. He was one of the best heels. I love it when one of his entrance to the ring is he gets out of the ring and he kind of like looks at the crowd, you know. So little things like that. I just think he played both parts really well. The flying Brian, the athletic blonde-haired mullet good-looking guy to the crazy
Yeah.
deranged lunatic. He did it all.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I think I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but man, his storyline with Goldust was the most personal storyline I've ever experienced, especially being 10 years old. Like
Yeah.
I literally thought that he had Melina hostage, you know, and I felt for Goldust. And every single week, I just felt bad whenever Goldust would wrestle and he would pop up on the screen with Melina, rubbing it in on his face that, you know, I have your wife, you know, doing what I please to her. And it's, and the fact, and and the fact that after Dustin got Terry back, they cut that interview with Jim Ross, and you know there was supposed to be this one big happy family of them finally getting his wife back, and then Dustin divorces her, throws the ring at her. I'm like, wow, man, this is Jerry Springer. Like, well, it wasn't like trash Jerry Springer, but it was like really, really good storytelling, and I believed every single bit of it,
I wonder, do like kids? I wish. I wonder if kids 10 years old feel the same way we
man.
felt
I
about
know.
certain storylines, like then like really being invested in it. But it seems like, well, I haven't seen a WWE crowd in a long time, but it seems like AEW, like the crowds are older. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
there aren't any kids in the crowd.
yeah.
So it's just, yeah, I'm just very curious if they see what we see, you know, because at 10 years old or so, like, yeah, those storylines are very wild, and I was invested.
I think now kids are just like they look up to heroes. You know, back in the day it was like John Cena or whatever. And I think it's not so much of like, well, also because of the storytelling now it's a little bit more PG, especially in WWE. Before, like we thought everything was real and we thought it was just like your dad going to his day job of wrestling. It just so happens like when you wrestle, there's this asshole that you work with and he's causing you all this pain, right? And like I think it's like this coworker that's like super evil and kidnaps your wife, and you're just trying to do your job to win your match, and you have to get distracted by all these like outside factors. You know, you believe into that world. They just want to be great wrestlers. They want to win every match. They want to become the world champion. That's all they want. And now I think kids just see it as like watching Marvel. You know, I just think kids see it as like, oh no, when John Cena loses, they cry, you know, and they just want John. So I don't think they're like heavily invested in them personally anymore. I think kids are all like average fans now.
Mm, yeah, that's funny. The one thing about the Nexus documentary that I did was I didn't bury John Cena like I wanted to, but yeah, because the money wasn't enough. You know, if the money was more, then I would have just threw him under the bus. Yeah, I said on the network, throwing John under the bus, John Cena, about how he tried to break Michael Tarver's arm because
uh,
there's a time where something happened in a run in, and John Cena picked up the steps and threw it at Tarver, and Tarver said he came to the back to the grill position pissed off. He was like, "Man, that motherfucker tried to break my arm." And I was cracking up. I was cracking up. So hopefully they use that soundbite on the on the documentary.
I think with that said, that's a good spot to wrap it up for this episode. It's an exciting time in wrestling with all these companies doing crossovers, man. It's unpredictable. It's the wild, wild west right now. And I just think it's cool that every day there's a wrestling program. Monday, Raw. Tuesday, what's Tuesday? Used to be, I think Tuesday's NXT now. Wednesday, AEW, Thursday, Impact, Friday, SmackDown. You got like New Japan. You got all these wrestling podcasts.
Friday is New Japan Strong. Friday is
Yeah,
New Japan
man.
Strong. The hardest working hour in all of professional wrestling on the planet, New Japan Strong.
Yeah,
And I'm happy to be a part of it. And I'll be talking about it until I'm 6 feet under because I'm very proud
as you should, man. As you
of
should.
it.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. If you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to give us a 5-star review and let me know what you guys like about this podcast. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. And until then,
Block the hate. Salute the great Arnold Telegarta.